Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajanacharya Ashtotara Shatta Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga. Give me the book. Also, can you give me those two books? If you just on that hook, on those hooks. So we're getting close to the end of this chapter. There's today and then tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. We should be done with this chapter. And then we'll move on to a whole nother topic. The Hamsa Guru prayers offered to the Lord by Prajapati Daksha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, Prescribed Duties for Mankind. Chapter 3, Yamaraj instructs his messengers. Text 31. So if everybody could please repeat. Tasmat Sankirtanam Vishnor Jaganmangalam amhasam mahatam api koravya vidi aikantika nishkritam tasmat sankirtanam vishnor jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api koravya vidyakantika nishkritam tasmat sankirtanam vishnor jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api kauravya vidyakantika nishkritam tasmat sankirtanam vishnor jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api kauravya vidyakantika nishkritam.
Tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu jagan mahatam api kauravya vidyakantika nishkritam tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api kauravya vidyakantika nishkritam tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api kauravya vidyakantika nishkritam tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api kauravya vidyakantika nishkritam tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api kauravya vidyakantika nishkritam Ladies?
Tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu
jagan mangalam amhasam
mahatam api kauravya
vidyakantika nishkritam
Tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu
Tasmat sankirtanam Vishnu jagan mangalam amhasam mahatam api kauravya. Okay. Tasmat, therefore, Sankirtanam, the congregational chanting of the holy name, Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu, Jagat Mangalam, the most auspicious performance within this material world, Anghasam, for sinful activities, Mahatam Api, even though very great, Kauravya, O descendant of the Kuru family, Vidhi, understand, Aikantika, the ultimate, Nishkritam, atonement. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shukadev Goswami continued, My dear king, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is able to uproot even the reactions of the greatest sins. Therefore, the chanting of the Sankirtan movement is the most auspicious activity in the entire universe. Please try to understand this so that others will take it seriously. Purport. We should note that although Ajamil chanted the name of Narayan imperfectly, he was delivered from all sinful reactions. The chanting of the holy name is so auspicious that it can free everyone from the reactions of sinful activities. One should not conclude that one may continue to sin with intention of chanting Hare Krishna to neutralize the reactions. Rather, one should be very careful to be free from all sins and never think of counteracting sinful activities by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, for this is another offense. If by chance a devotee accidentally performs some sinful activity, the Lord will excuse him, but one should not intentionally perform sinful acts. Om Gyanativananda Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshulan Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karidivacha Pangam Langate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Didataranam Vancha Kapladubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Manamaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. Shukadev Goswami continued, "My dear king, the chanting of the name of the Lord is able to uproot even the reactions of the greatest sins. Therefore, the chanting of the Sankirtan movement is the most auspicious activity in the universe. Please try to understand this so that others will take it seriously." Srila Prabhupada was meeting with one reporter in Canada. Our friend from Canada is not here this morning, huh? He went with Vijay Prabhu. Oh, you're from Canada too? All right. Okay. You're kind of from Canada, right? Close. You're Washington. Oh, you were living in Washington. Yeah. Anyways, so Prabhupada was meeting with this reporter in Canada, and the reporter, this person was asking him, Srila Prabhupada, a question, and the question was, what was your impression when you first came to America? What was your impression of the people? What was your impression of how people would accept your the teachings of Lord Chaitanya? What was your impression? So, Srila Prabhupada said, I was not very hopeful. He said, I was not very hopeful, and he said that I thought that as soon as I introduced these four principles, means the four principles that, everybody knows the four principles. Srila Prabhupada said that I thought that the people of America would just say, oh, just go home, go back to India. And then Prabhupada said that that's why and then he said, I composed this prayer on the prayer of, the prayer in which he prays to Krishna, and he says, my dear Krishna, I do not. Let's. Can we look this up? This prayer, just so we could be very precise and exact and repeating it. Maybe you could pass it to me when. Or you can put it here. Can you bring that Achman cup here? The Achman cup? So, this prayer is written September 18th, 1965, Boston Harbor. So, yeah, we'll just read. So, Prabhupada says here, my dear Lord Krishna, So again, Prabhupada was asked, okay, what was your impression of America? And Prabhupada said, I wasn't very hopeful. And as soon as I introduced these principles, they'll tell me go home. And then the Prabhupada said, in this way, and in this mood, I compose this prayer. I'm very hopeful. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here, America. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here, otherwise why would you bring me to this terrible place? It's interesting because people, they come from all over the world, even now, to see America, to enjoy America, to try to live in America and have a successful, happy life. And Prabhupada said, why are you bringing me to this terrible place? It's terrible. It's like Vrindavan, and then you have New York City or Boston. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, right? Like on book distribution. Hey, you want a book? Oh, no, I'm good. That's all right. Yeah, they think themselves very satisfied. And therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva, Krishna. I do not know how they will be able to understand it, but I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? O Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them of your message. All living entities have come under the control of the illusory energy by your will, and therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes Srimad Bhagavatam, Shanvatam Sakata Krishna, Nasta Prayeshu Badreshu Tata Rajastamo Bhava, Evam Prasana Manaso Bidite Hridaya Granti. So these are all lessons in themselves, these verses, in which Krishna is saying that residing in the heart as the Paramatma, he cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages. He cleanses the heart. And by purification of the heart, the lower modes of nature, passion and ignorance, what happens to them? Yeah, destroyed almost to nil. They disappear. And then what happens? The devotee becomes happy. Established in the mode of goodness, the man rejuvenated by loving service, Lord, gains liberation from material association, comes to know scientifically of the personality of Godhead. Thus the narts of the heart and all misgivings are cut to pieces. One sees oneself and one's master. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. And then Prabhupada says, it's up to you to make me a success or failure, as you like. And he says, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. So if you brought me here to dance, then make me dance, O Lord, make me dance as you like. And then he says, I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I've been designated as Bhaktivedanta, and now if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board of the ship Jaladuta. Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September 1965. So he said he has faith in the strong in the holy name of Krishna. So here you go. So he's saying that he was feeling very hopeless, that how will these people ever understand? How will the American people ever understand? Sometimes we feel like that too, right? At least I feel like that sometimes. I'm sure every devotees, all of you feel like that also. That how will we spread Krishna consciousness? How will these people ever understand? How will these people take books? How will these people become devotees? Just like there was this boy who came last night to the Krishna Lounge in Chula Vista, South Bay. And he was displaying symptoms of being in the lower modes of nature through his language and, just behavior. But it's interesting because although he was displaying that, still he had this interest in coming and chanting. He wanted to learn mridanga, so I was sitting there trying to show him a little bit. He's a drummer, so he was actually picking up something. And it was interesting. I was seeing him, and I was seeing him hitting the mridanga, and I was thinking, this person might become a devotee. And I was thinking, he's a good-hearted person, and some lower modes are there, clearly. But it was interesting because in his heart, Krishna inspired him. Okay, you come. And he came. And then I was seeing him, play the mridanga, and I was thinking, wow, this person, he might actually become a mridanga player. And it's actually like a miracle, actually, that anybody becomes a devotee in this age, in this time, for so many reasons. So we'll see. His name's Ricardo. So all of you could say a prayer for Ricardo for his deliverance. Please do. Yeah. Francisco and him could associate together. So, So it's interesting because Prabhupada never mentioned that, when I introduce this chanting of Hare Krishna, they'll tell me go home. He never said that. He never said it. Of course, some people, they don't like it. They go like this when they're out on Harinam, they go like this, or, the Hare Krishnas are coming. Usually not though. Most people, they're neutral, at least that's what it seems like. But a lot of people are actually, they like it. They may smile, they may wave, they may dance. A lot of people like it, all over the world, wherever you go. But again, it's interesting. Prabhupada said, I'll introduce this chant of Hare Krishna, then they'll tell me to go home. He didn't say that, but he said that once I introduce these 4 principles, they'll tell me to go home. And as Srila Prabhupada said that if he erased these 4 principles and just said, chant Hare Krishna, do whatever you want, he said he'd have millions of followers. People would be lining up. But he doesn't say that. It doesn't say it in his books. It doesn't say it in his lectures. He never says it. Because the 4 principles, these 4 principles, following some basic, which is, by the way, basic moral principles. So it's not like it's some, high. They're basic moral principles to follow. By following these basic moral principles and also other things, that will help one be able to actually have a clear mind to chant Hare Krishna properly and get the result. And we see that people, so the difficulty is not the chanting, maybe japa a little bit, right? But not kirtan. Like you see these big festivals, like Bhakti Fest or Shakti Fest or whatever fest. You see these big festivals with hundreds and thousands of people sometimes. Stadiums are full. And they may chant other mantras, but like at the Bhakti Fest, for example, they chant so many mantras, but at the end, they chant Hare Krishna. I know that's the best. But you see all of these people chanting. So the problem really isn't chanting. They actually like it. They enjoy it. They get something from it. But the problem is the austerities. When you say, hey guys, can you follow these? Well, I don't know. It's, like devotees joke. I said this some time ago when I was somewhere else giving a talk, and there's a place in the world, devotees joke, they say, oh yeah, devotees just follow three regulative principles. You know what those three regulative principles are? No meat, no fish, no eggs. Other principles, you know, kind of, I won't tell you where that place is. It's not here, but some other place. Means, anyways, Hare Krishna. So people are attracted to saintly people. People are attracted to the holy name. People are attracted to the process of devotional service. People are attracted to prasadam. But people, a lot of people in Kali Yuga, in this particular time frame especially, it's like they're allergic. Allergic to what? It's like they're allergic to commitment. Oh no, I don't want to commit, you know. Commit to a person, to commit to principles, commit to an institution, commit to a guru. Oh no. The only thing they want, I mean, they are committed, by the way. It's not that they're not committed. They're committed to something else. And what is that? Yeah, they're committed to sense gratification, to trying to enjoy the dualities of material existence. But they're slow to perform austerity. But again, it's interesting because it's a mix-up. It's like they have some piousness. Is that a word? So we could say it, piousness. No, they have some piety. It's a made-up word, piousness. They have some piety, some goodness to them. But it's mixed up. They also have some other desires. But it's interesting because a lot of people, they have this piety, and they may respect saintly people. They may appreciate them. They may want to even be like them. They may even want their blessings, especially with the Indian folks. There's some concept like that. Please give me your blessings, Maharaj. Please give me your blessings, Prabhu, right? There's some concept. My spiritual master, he when somebody asks him, can you please give me your blessings? And he says, what do you want? What blessings do you want? Because then people say, oh, what blessings do I want? It's an interesting question, actually. He said, what blessings do you want? And then they have to think about it and, you know, say the right thing. So, of course, with degradation is happening simultaneously with people becoming frustrated and turning to spiritual life. And it's amazing how, you know, degrading people could become. And so, like, what do you call shameless? Like, there's some billboard just on Grand, and it says the only reason for the season is Jesus. It's true. I mean, it's not a false statement. It's, oh, this is just Christians, you know, getting on everybody's case. And it's like, well, the whole point of Christmas is celebrating the birth of Christ. It's a true statement. But some complete two-legged animal climbed up there. And I didn't see him climb up there, but you could see the after effects. And he spray painted something on that billboard, something very foul, which I am not going to repeat here. And actually, I didn't even read the whole thing because I just read one. It was just really foul. I didn't even read the whole thing. But it's just so shameless. But anyways, you get people who are, you know, kind of sliding down quick these days. But you also have still pious people, good-hearted people, people who want, again, people who appreciate spiritual people, spiritual life. So in this connection, there was Srila Prabhupada was on a train one time in India, and Hari Shari Prabhu, he mentions this in one of his books, Transcendental Diary, I think volume 1. He mentions how there was 3 Indian men on the train, it's a train in India, 3 Indian men, right? And Prabhupada's sitting there with his disciples. And these 3 men, they want to go into Prabhupada's compartment and speak with Prabhupada. But the devotees, they don't want these 3 men to go in because they don't want people wasting Prabhupada's time asking him whimsical questions. And so they're trying to keep these 3 men out. So then these 3 men, they made eye contact with Prabhupada. And due to social etiquette, Prabhupada said, okay, you have to let him in now. We made eye contact, so you let him in. So then they sat down, and then Srila Prabhupada was very cordial and nice, and he said, what are your names? What do you do for work? Where are you from? These basic questions. And then Prabhupada looked him right in the eyes and he says, what can I do for you? And then the 3 men, one of the men, he speaks up and he says, Maharaj, I want your blessings. Prabhupada would call these Maharajas who give blessings in India, Prabhupada would call them Ashirvad Maharajas. Ashirvad means blessing. It means a blessing is he waves his hand or he does something, and there's no education, there's no inquiry into the absolute truth, it's just a formality. Ashirvad Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada said, I want your blessing. The Prabhupada said, well, what blessings do you want? And the man said, oh, my knee is hurting. And then it said that all the devotees practically started to groan and discuss, oh, I can't believe this guy's asking. And then the fellow noticed that, and then he said, well, my family. And then still the devotees were not looking impressed at all. And then the guy said, well, I want to do good for people. Anyway, so then Prabhupada said, okay, do you want my blessings? And he said, you see these 3, you see my disciples here? You see they have this tulsi necklace, they have their shika, they have tilak, they have this cloth. He said, you accept this blessing. He told the 3 men that. And then the men were saying, oh, Swami, we have family and we have duties and this and that. And then they just kind of stood up and they left. And then Prabhupada was just smiling. So it means that they want some blessing of a saintly person according to their material calculation. It's not that they're not pious. They're good-hearted people, and they want some blessing. But it's just they're not. In other words, they're not ready for austerity. That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making. They're not ready for austerity to take on the difficulty of spiritual life. So without taking on this, we should note that without performing austerity, there's no question of Krishna consciousness. There's no question of spreading Krishna consciousness. There's no question of being Krishna conscious. It's just a complete hallucination to think that we could do it without austerity. Just like the Krishna lounge here we have in Pacific Beach. It's of course it's very pleasant and people are coming and we have kirtan and there's prasadam and there's all everybody's having a good time, the devotees and other people. It's transcendentally fun and everything, but it's a bit of austerity. Cooking, we got to cook every week, right? Cutting vegetables, cooking for so many hours, talking with people, that could be austerity, right? Hearing their questions and maybe them offloading a bunch of stuff into your consciousness, disturbing things about their life or, giving you too much information or something about whatever. It could be austere. Staying up late, speaking to these people, it's austerity. Like one devotee in one ashram, brahmachari, he said, oh yeah, I don't want to go on Harinam. It's just, kind of deal with all these people. They're not very clean, True. But to preach, to try to extend ourselves, it's an austerity. We're also going down to, Chulivit every Friday, cooking, driving back late, trying to advertise, trying to get people to visit, so on. It's a bit of an austerity. Or book distribution, or whatever it is. There's so many austerities. Rising early, right? So Srila Prabhupada, he has some these verses and purports are really amazing in the second canto in this regard. I'll share them with you. 3 verses. Okay. So this is Canto 2, the cosmic manifestation. Chapter 9, answers by citing the Lord's version. Text 22. The highest perfectional ingenuity is the personal perception of... 23. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me, so Krishna speaking, that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. What did Lord Brahma hear? Yeah. How many times? Yeah, 3 times. Tapa. Such penance, it's interesting here, it says, such penance is my heart and soul, Krishna is saying. And therefore penance and I are non-different. So if we neglect austerity, how can we capture Krishna's heart? He says, that is my heart and soul. And he said, I am non-different from that. So how are we going to want to be connected with Krishna without austerity? He said, I'm non-different from that. Then purport, the penance by which one can see Krishna face to face is understood as devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service and transcendental love can one approach to the Lord. Purport goes on, but we'll read text 24, because the purport of 24 is, I create the cosmos so that I create the cosmos by such penance, I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it by the same energy. Therefore the potential power is penance only. Purport, in executing penance, one must be determined to return home back to Godhead and must decide to undergo all types of tribulations for that end. Even for material prosperity, name, and fame, one has to undergo severe types of penance. Otherwise, no one could become an important figure in this material world. So, you want to become a doctor? Man, I don't think anybody here wants to become a doctor, right? Mukunda? No? You don't want to become a doctor? Maybe later? Spiritual doctor, okay. We'll see. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyways, we'll talk a little bit later. But you want to become a doctor? I was just talking with a devotee family, husband, wife, and their daughter. And I've known them for many years, and now the daughter is in college. And anyways. And she said she's going to college to become a doctor. And her parents are saying, yeah, it's very difficult, and you know, we're trying to encourage her, expensive, and it's going to take about 13 years, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, add it all together. Total. So she's whatever, 21 or whatever, or 19, and when she's 33 or whatever, then she'll be a doctor. So it's quite a bit of a long haul, you know, you could say. But so I was anyways, but the point is that she cannot become a doctor unless she performs austerity, going to school so much, studying so much, right? Working hard, or she can't become a doctor. So that's what Prabhupada's mentioned, even in the mature world. Why then are there severe types of penance for the perfection of devotional service? And then Prabhupada continues, an easygoing life, an attainment of perfection and transcendental realization cannot go together. An easygoing life and the attainment of perfection and transcendental realization cannot go together. The Lord is more clever than any living entity. Therefore, he wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in devotional service. So Krishna wants to see how painstaking this person is, how determined this person is. The order is received from the Lord, either directly or through the bona fide spiritual master, and to execute that order, however painstaking, is the severe type of penance. So what's the austerity? To execute the order of Krishna, or the spiritual master. One who follows this principle rigidly is surely to achieve success in attaining the Lord's mercy. All right, so the next one here. Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, text 25, you are situated in everyone's heart as the supreme director. Therefore, you are aware of all endeavors by your superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever. So, Krishna is saying that I was the one who, it was I who first ordered you to undergo austerity. It was me, Krishna's saying, when you're perplexed in your duty. So sometimes people say, oh, what is my duty, right? Well, the duty is to perform austerity. All devotees. And then he says, such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. And then he says, by this austerity, I create the cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy. So you see how powerful this energy is. And I withdraw it by the same energy. Therefore the potential power is penance only. So it's interesting, this next one, Lord Brahma says, O personality of Godhead, you are in everyone's heart as the supreme director, and therefore you're aware of all endeavors by your superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever. So Brahma is saying you're in the heart, and you're aware of everyone's endeavor by your superior intelligence. So, and Prabhupada explains in the purport that that in relation to us performing our austerities, Krishna sees how much is this person performing austerities for me? How much is this person painstakingly engaging in devotional service? How much of a quitter is this person? Krishna sees that. So in other words, we can't get around austerity, and aside from not getting around austerity, we can't get around from Krishna seeing how much austerity we perform. It's not that we say, oh, I don't want to perform austerity, and I'm going to try to perform as little as possible. Well, Krishna sees that. That's what Brahma is saying. He's in the heart. We can't get away. But it's nice because Krishna sees that and he reciprocates with us. If we perform austerities, Krishna reciprocates with us. We get the mercy of Krishna, without a doubt. And Krishna helps us also. He's in our heart. He's saying, this person's trying to perform austerities for me. All right, let me help him. Let me help her. So it's quite amazing. And as it said, at least in relation to the Brahmins, right? Austerity is the wealth of the Brahmins. It's and actually for devotees, austerity is our wealth. It is, rising early, attending Mangalarti, chanting, engaging in devotional service, painstakingly trying to be Krishna conscious, trying to help people come to Krishna consciousness. This is real wealth, because by this one actually will get Krishna's mercy. So I mention this because, again, it's not that Prabhupada said, when I come to America and I introduce these, he said, when I come to America and introduce these 4 principles, they're going to say, go home. But Prabhupada didn't say that when I come to America and I introduce chanting of Hare Krishna, they're going to say, go home. Prabhupada never said that. Prabhupada said that if I did away with these 4 principles, we get so many followers. In other words, people like Hare Krishna. People like chanting Hare Krishna. People like seeing the devotees chant. It's enlivening to them. But again, the difficulty comes when they're asked to perform austerity. But as followers of Prabhupada, again, we have to perform austerity if we want to attain the goal of life, as Lord Rishabhadev says. Nayam deha deha bhajam naloke kashtan kaman ahite vidbhujam tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam shuddhe from Yasmad. I always forget the Yasmad. Yasmad brahmasalkam tvanantam. So he says that you should not be like hogs and dogs who eat all types of abominable things. But you should engage in divine penance and austerity. Tapo divyam. Not material, but divine austerity. Undergo difficulties for Krishna. By which you can attain what? Purification. And then from this purification, then what? Brahmasaukam tvanantam, this unlimited happiness. So, yes, we chant, we dance, we take prasadam, but we also follow the principles. And we chant, we dance, we take prasadam, but we also educate people what are those principles. Gradually, right? Gradually we introduce principles to people, and then fortunate people will accept those and then really get the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna. Which is, as it's stated here in this particular verse, it's the most auspicious thing in the universe. This chanting of Krishna's name, Jagan Mangalam Amhasam. So just to conclude, there's a beautiful book. It's called Viveka Shatakam. It's 100 verses of wisdom by Prabodhananda Saraswati. And he has very beautiful verses about Lord Chaitanya. So I'll just read a few of those verses, because it's displaying Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Because we're trying to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we're trying to give Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So it's good if we hear descriptions of Lord Chaitanya, who we're worshiping every day, Gauranitai on the altar, Sri Sri Gauranitai, and whose mercy we're trying to get and give. It's helpful if we hear verses describing. So I'll read a few here. Okay. And then we could. Okay. So this is one. It's called Sri Chaitanya Chitrashtakam. As the moon-like Lord Gauranga appeared in Gaudadesh, the terrible darkness and dense mass of contamination within the heart are now completely gone, far from oneself. Having given up his way of life, even a heretic becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord, and being fully satisfied with the nectar of love of God, he also becomes very affectionate towards all inhabitants of the 3 worlds. Is this not wonderful? As the moon-like Lord Gauranga appeared in Gaudadesh, lame men cross the greatest mountains, sprouts germinate without seeds. Sprouts germinate without seeds. And even blind men become endowed with divine vision. Suddenly, steady joy beyond measure produces a feeling of freedom from all distress. Is this not wonderful? As the moon like Lord Gauranga appeared in Gaudadesh, glass becomes gold. Gold becomes philosopher's stone. Vaidurya gems produce similar matchless jewels. Crows become like Garuda. Crooked, ugly trees become sandal trees, and barren trees become wish-fulfilling trees. Is this not wonderful? As the moon like Lord Gauranga appeared in Gaudadesh, such love of God, which is like fresh nectar and is very hard to obtain, although desired by the greatest sages such as Lord Brahma, and yet to be comprehended even by Lakshmi and others, has attained plenitude in this Kali Yuga. Now even foolish and sinful people, down to the dog-eaters, have obtained such burning love of God. Is this not wonderful? As the moonlight Lord Gauranga appeared in Gaudadesh, the sweetness of the narrations of Lord Krishna's pastimes, which gives complete happiness and which in a long period of time was lost in a secluded place of pastimes in Vrindavan, has thus become well known. Exclaiming Govinda, Govinda, the daughter of Banu Maharaj herself has now appeared as a messenger. Is this not wonderful? As the moon, just a few more. As the moon, like Lord Gauranga, appeared in Gaudadesh, filling the festive bliss of serving the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna day and night, and tasting the nectar of love and the joy of glorifying and worshipping Krishna, all moving and non-moving beings in the universe became as if immersed in an ocean of love of God. Is this not wonderful? As the moon, like Lord Gauranga, appeared in Gaudadesh, the whole world is repeatedly murmuring thus, Ah, Radha, all glories unto you. Ah, sweet Radhika, ah, beloved of the Lord of my life. Alas, where is the enchantress of the flute player? The moon-faced queen of my life. Alas, where is Rasa personified, the beauty of Vrindavan? Is this not wonderful? Okay, so we could stop there. It says, those who read this Chaitanya Chitashtakam with a very pure mind, and those helpless souls who, having heard it, accept it within the heart and sing it day and night, will all become immersed in the ocean of love of God, while their offenses and sins are gradually destroyed, and finally they remain at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. There's no doubt about this. Okay, does anybody have any question?
Well, that concludes.
Or comment?
I have a comment and a question. You said about austerity, and if Prabhupada hadn't introduced it, he'd have so many followers. Prabhupada said that a number of times. Dhananjaya Prabhu, Prabhupada's Dhananjaya, he was one of the first devotees to go to Italy. They had a temple in Rome. They had a little apartment. And nobody spoke Italian, more than just a few basic words to function. So amazing. They just served out great feasts, lots of kirtan. Place was packed. Apartment building, the apartment down the street, down the stairs. They had to get a bigger place. A devotee arrived from London who spoke Italian. Gave a Sunday feast talk, half-hour Sunday feast talk. Emptied the whole building. Emptied the whole apartment. They say, what did you say? Did you offend the Italian mothers? I mean, pizza apparat, what did you say? And he innocently said, well, I explained the four regulative principles. They'd never heard that before. As soon as they heard the four regulative principles, zing, they were out the door. So it's a practical manifestation. But my question is this, unless you wanted to say something about that. My question is, why austerity? Why do we have to... why doesn't Krishna just make it easy? Why do we have to grovel and feel creatureliness, that we're small and fallen, and why this weight of sin and guilt? Why don't we just make it sweet? I'll surrender, no problem. If he's the highest taste, naturally I'll give it all up. Why this squeezing me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a symptom of, it's a symptom that somebody actually, sometimes we're in love, and it's kind of like a, it's been thrown around so much. But if somebody actually loves somebody, then they're willing to sacrifice for that person. Like the example Prabhupada gives often is that of a mother. I mean, it's not that the mother is really, of course she gets the affection of the child, this and that, but it's not that the mother's being paid for it. You know, like, it's not that the mother's calculating. It's not that Ananga Priya is calculating, okay, Mukunda Vrinda, I've cooked for you so many times, I've cleaned for you so many times, I was dealing with you and your baby's crying at night, you know, or Gorkeshwar. It's not that they're calculating. And then when they become 18, Ananga Priya says, okay, here's your bill. Now you pay me so much money, you know. It's just motherly affection, serving the children, taking care of the children, feeding the children. It's actually a lot of work. I mean, just try cooking for somebody, you know, every day. You know, not TV dinner, not frozen garbage, not, you know, actually cooking, cutting vegetables, cooking. It's a bit of a process. And also, it's not that when you cook for a family or you cook for somebody, it's not you just, you know, you cook them the same thing every time. You know, they want varieties, they want, you know, and it can't just be like robotic in the sense that, you know, this person, you know, you could taste it. It's like, hey, did you really try to cook something for me? Or is it, you know, you could taste it in the... So it's a lot of work. So, but a symptom of love is that you're willing to sacrifice. If you don't love, you just, you know, you just go through the motions, or you just leave them, you know, drop them off at a whatever orphanage, drop them off at their uncle's house, whatever. Just, you know, ditch them and don't come back, you know, children. So. So similarly, it's like that when we're serving Krishna or serving our spiritual master. There has to be some sacrifice there to display our wanting to have a relationship, or if in the later stages our affection. There has to be some display of that. So in other words, it's just the nature of having an exchange or a loving relationship. So there has to be some sacrifice, some endeavor. Just like, again, between a husband and a wife, if the husband says, oh, I love you so much, and I'll do anything for you, and you're the love of my life, and on and on and on and on and on, and then the guy's just sitting on the couch all day, right, watching cricket or football, and, you know, eating Fritos or whatever, potato chips or something, Cheetos, whatever. Eating, you know, and just eating, sleeping, watching sports. Yeah, and then he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't. It's just all like cheap, kind of like with the words. Oh, I love. Yeah, I love you, I love you, I love you. But he doesn't do anything. Then it's not really. There's no sacrifice there. So we could say, oh, Krishna, why don't you just make it such a way where I don't have to sacrifice anything for you? There's that nice. Maybe you could tell that story. I don't know it properly. The Durga worshiper with the fly. Offering the fly.
Well, just because you asked, I'll tell it quickly.
It's a good one displaying the point.
Right, as a service to you. So, you know, traditionally they offer a goat to the goddess Kali on a moonlit night and whisper in the ear, I'm killing you, you get to kill me in the future. So a guy says, listen, you know, I'm going to get you the goat, but, you know, but can you give me, you know, what do they call COD? You just give it to me now, and then I'll offer you the goat. I just, you know, I got to get one, and it's going to take me a little time, but I need your help right now. So Durga says, Mother Durga says, all right, you get your benediction. But the guy never comes through with a goat. And then he comes and visits the temple one day, and Durga says, hey, you know, whatever you want to do, but you made a promise. I fulfilled my part. Where's the goat? He said, oh, goats are so expensive, and it's such a hassle. Can I offer you a chicken? She says, all right, you can offer me a chicken, but do it. And never offers a chicken. Keeps coming, and he says, come on, you made a promise. He says, that chickens, they run so fast, they're hard to get a hold of. And he gets smaller and smaller. Can I offer you? And finally he says, okay, after 4 or 5 times, never doing, he says, can I offer you a fly? Can I offer you a fly? She says, all right, do it. And he never does it. And then so she said, well, what happened? He said, there's so many flies buzzing around. Can't you just catch it yourself? It's a Bengali joke.
It's a good one. Very good. Yeah, it makes sense. It's a Bengali one, right? Bengali. That's why they say this demigod worship. Like Prabhupada, there was one man arguing with Giraj Das Brahmacharya about demigod worship versus Krishna worship. They're going back and forth, and Prabhupada came, and then this fellow asked Prabhupada the question about demigod worship, Shiva worship, Krishna worship, and he said, Prabhupada said, this demigod worship, there's 2 words he used. One is puja, another one is seva. So he said this demigod worship, it's like, anyways, the point Prabhupada was making, this demigod worship, it's like a business transaction. You want something, whereas that's generally what happens with the demigod worship, if not all the time. And then with Krishna worship, you're just serving Krishna just to serve Krishna. And the guy accepted, okay. But anyways, in relation to this story about Durga, it's a little different, but it's a similar principle. Prabhupada was mentioned one time about Arjuna and Krishna on the on the Kurukshetra, battlefield of Kurukshetra. So then Prabhupada said that Krishna did not tell Arjuna, okay, you sit here on the chariot and smoke ganja, and I'll fight. Prabhupada said, Krishna didn't say that. Krishna said, no, you fight Arjuna, I will help you. So, anyways, there has to be some sacrifice. There has to be some way that we show that we're serious. About Dhananjaya Prabhu, because he said he went to Italy, or one other devotee went to Italy, but when Prabhupada initiated Dhananjaya, he gave the name Dhananjaya, right? Which means conqueror of wealth. And then Prabhupada told Dhananjaya, interesting enough, he said, oh, money? Prabhupada said, money, it's flying, in the air. He said, you have to, it's an art of catching it. And then in Dhananjaya, he spoke with Prabhupada, and he said, oh, Prabhupada, in one of your books, you mentioned that there's this hill. What is it called? It's made out of gold. Yeah. You mentioned in your books. Meru, right? You mentioned in your book. So Dhananjaya said, Prabhupada, is it okay if I take some, he said, what's that, rucksack? If I take some rucksack, and can you tell me where that is? So then I could go get it, because Dhananjaya was perceiving that, ISKCON was kind of struggling financially. So he said, I'll go get some of that gold, and then I could help out. So can you tell me where that is, Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, oh, no, that would be too controversial. So then Prabhupada said, oh, but better you make devotees. He said that's more valuable than jewels or anything. Better you make devotees. So, does anybody have any other question or comment? Okay, Dravida Prabhu and then Ananda Kirtan.
While you were speaking about the need of undergoing austerity in order to express one's affection for Krishna and Guru.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that line we sing every day, Shri Guru Charane Rate Ese Uttamagati.
Yeah.
That the supreme means of attaining the end is the affection for the Guru.
Yeah.
And you can see, I finished reading the Miracle on Second Avenue recently, the Mukunda Maharaj's book. What a wonderful book! And that was just symptomatic of the engine that was moving the movement during those years.
To this day.
To this day, yeah. And that is affection for Srila Prabhupada. That people were undergoing incredible austerities because of their love for Prabhupada.
Yeah.
And that, that is and it's interesting, it's in that song. That is actually what enables you to undertake seemingly impossible austerities. I remember somehow it comes to mind, there was Shivananda, who founded Hamburg.
In Germany.
Yeah, went alone to Germany. He must have spoken German, he learned German in school, or somehow he knew German. And to found a temple. Or our old friend Shuddhi from Laguna Beach, who ended up 18 years old. I mean, he was left alone. He was there. He joined someone. They left. He was 18 years old in South Africa, and he soldiered on, and established something.
Yeah.
So
They
this,
tried to throw him out of a window.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a whole, I don't think it's time.
Wow.
They tried to kill him.
Yeah.
The South African police.
Yeah. So that principle is always there, by the affection, as you mentioned with the mother, of course, and to go someone needs to.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. When you're reading that purport, Srila Prabhupada was saying that Krishna wants to see how painstaking his devotee is in performing devotional service. Sometimes when I hear statements like that, I'm thinking, I'm looking at my life and I'm thinking, maybe I'm being lazy, or maybe I'm not trying enough, maybe I have to be more intense, or, and then somehow I equate that with like going out and like preaching and things like that, but it doesn't have to necessarily be that. Then I look at like other devotees, like sometimes I compare myself with other devotees that are going out on book distribution for many hours a day, many days a week, or devotees that are performing like menial, laborious service for many hours a day. But obviously we know every devotee is different, so that intensity may look different according to different devotees.
Yeah.
And also, like, as traditionally, like brahmacharis are students. They're supposed to be studying scripture.
Yeah.
So this is it's a question and a comment, and maybe you can also help me to see if this comment is correct. Or actually, it's a question. Is it okay if someone in the brahmachari ashram spends many hours a day studying, because traditionally that's what the brahmacharis are meant for, or should we be doing more laborious service, going out preaching? What is it that Krishna is looking at? Oh, he's just taking it easy and studying, or does? Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, what is Krishna looking at? I mean, like Prabhupada said about Haridas Thakur. He said it was in Juhu. Then devotees were discussing with Prabhupada. They're saying, Prabhupada, there's some devotees and they just want to chant, and they don't want to kind of do services around, and then Prabhupada was saying, they shouldn't be like that, like they're chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. And then somebody comes up and said, can you help with some service? And then Prabhupada explained, kind of sarcastically saying, no, I'm too busy imitating Haridas Thakur, like. So there has to be an element of willingness to help, serve, because, that's a brahmachari means that. They should, brahmachari guru kule vasandanta. Danta means very, humble servant, of the guru, of the, So they have to be willing to sacrifice, which means may mean doing things that need to be done, for example. But if one's studying, then they should actually be studying. It's like you say, hey, I'm studying for whatever, so many hours. But then the question is, well, are they actually studying? You know, how much are they falling asleep? How much are they, you know, thinking about other things? How much are they not really focusing, digesting the message? It's not so easy just to chant all day, for example, or even to read for many hours. I mean, maybe some could do, you know, it's not. But it's not exactly so easy all the time to do that. You know, people have like a, like I said, like a breaking point, you know, they could only go so much. So the basic principle is to have like a balance. There should be a balance of these things, of study, there should be a balance of service. But within those within those services of studying and other things, it should be done intensely, very focused, in a focused way. Tivrena, bhakti yogena, in a very intense way. Yeah. But there are some instructions, Prabhupada, you can read 1 hour or 2 hours, you know. You could always be discussing with devotees, you know, the message of the Bhagavatam and so on. But yeah, Krishna's, it's not that, somebody who's laboriously working hard and somebody who's not doing that. They have, you know, devotees have different services and they're serving Krishna in different ways, and they should all appreciate each other. There's backline soldiers, there's frontline soldiers, there's different types. So that's something in relation to that.
That was a great answer, by the way. Well, I'm thinking of several things. If we don't study, if we don't read seriously, we dry up. So you have to be nourished by hearing, you know, by katha. You have to. We tend to look for binary answers, black or white, this or that, up or down. That's just the way the human, but it's nuanced. Just like Balaram said, you have to balance, I heard Prabhupada ask this question a number of times. Prabhupada would usually say, yeah, an hour, maybe 2 hours. Prabhupada would say, if you want to study more, sleep less. I mean, how serious are you? You know, we'll wash the pots less, but we won't miss prasadam, we won't sleep less, so what's really going on here? And just for fun, in Prabhupada's lectures, and especially room conversations, and in his letters, do a search on do the needful, you'll advance. See how many times Prabhupada says, do the needful, you'll advance. I mean, the needful, what needs to be done to push on the movement, to serve your spiritual master.
About reducing sleep, Tamal Krishna Goswami asked Prabhupada, how do you do that? And then Prabhupada said, you have to practice. Interesting, yeah, to practice. Okay, I think Vijay Krishna, you have a question or a comment?
On Zoom?
Yes, sir.
I have a quick comment too.
Oh,
Yes, I have.
it's getting late.
May I?
Yes.
Yes, Balaram Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much. You're very kind. The question is, if the austerities the Hare Krishnas must perform are of the spiritual nature, and if the Hare Krishnas are spiritual souls, why to categorize such austerities as difficult to perform? Why not to categorize them as pleasurable?
Okay.
Isn't that spiritual is the same as pleasing?
Yeah, thank you.
Please?
Well, over time, the austerity, things that we accept as difficult or austere, they become sources of happiness, just like in the Gita, right? Or Krishna says, in the beginning, they're like poison, and they become nectar. So yeah, there may be things that are difficult, but like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, whatever difficulty I obtain in serving you, Krishna, or spiritual master, whatever difficulty I obtain, that is my greatest pleasure. Or as Prabhupada was once asked Bhakti Sri Damodar Goswami. Bhakti Sri Damodar Goswami asked Prabhupada the question, Prabhupada, you're dealing with so many problems. They're writing you letters and issues and so many problems. And how do you deal with all these problems? And Prabhu said, oh, problems? He says, I don't see any problems. He said, I just see opportunities to serve my spiritual master. So it's just about seeing it in the right way. So I hope you're satisfied with that.
Oh, of course, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. All right, so last one. Maitreya?
I'm going to let you go. I just wanted to appreciate your tying austerities to showing love. I thought that was a really nice example. When you're, on your hands and knees cleaning the crud out of the corner of the temple room, that can objectively be seen as an austerity. But if you're doing it in the right frame of mind, it actually becomes enjoyable, especially if you do it, like you said, with love. So that was wonderful. And Prabhupada said if we raise our children properly, he said the Gurukula children will learn to see austerities as fun. So it doesn't necessarily have to always be something that's negative. Austerity can be a very positive idea. So thank you for that, Hare Krishna.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, so Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah.